She wasn't human, and she wanted me. My name's John Carter. I've fixed engines my whole life. Machines make sense to me. People don't. I used to think the world ran on gears, smoke, and oil until the night everything stopped making sense. It started 3 weeks ago on the kind of night you only see in ghost stories. The air was too still, the crickets too quiet. I was driving home from the shop, tired, hands still stained with grease. My truck radio kept cutting in and out. Static, then silence, then a single word whispered between the noise. John. I froze. No one was on the channel. The voice wasn't human. Too clear, too perfect, almost inside my head. I pulled over near Miller's Hill, stepped out, and that's when I saw the lights. Not headlights, not drones. Something alive, moving like it was breathing. Blue and silver ripples twisting above the tree line. I don't remember deciding to walk closer. My feet just moved. The air buzzed against my skin, like static crawling under it. And then everything went white. When I opened my eyes, she was standing there. She didn't belong to this world. Her skin shimmered, pale as moonlight. Her eyes, not glowing, but reflecting everything around her like liquid mirrors. She wasn't afraid. She looked at me as if she already knew me, as if she'd been waiting. John, she said again, but this time the sound came from everywhere. The trees, the ground, the air in my lungs. I stumbled back. Who are you? I asked. She tilted her head slightly, studying me, the way a scientist studies something fragile. Then she smiled. You called me. I didn't. I started, but she raised her hand, and the words died in my throat. Her touch wasn't cold. It was warm, alive, humming with energy that made my heart stutter. I've searched many skies to find this frequency, she said softly, and it led me to you. I didn't know whether to run or stay frozen. Every instinct screamed danger, but something deeper whispered, don't move. She stepped closer. The air rippled around her, bending the light. I could feel her trying to understand me, not just my words, but my thoughts. You're not human, I said quietly. Her expression didn't change, but there was sadness in her eyes. Not like you, but I'm not so different. The wind picked up. Behind her, the lights faded, leaving only the soft hum of my truck engine. It was just the two of us, man and something beyond man, standing on a dirt road under a dying moon. Then she said something that made my blood run cold. I know your dreams, John. I've seen them from far away. The loneliness, the questions you never say out loud. You wanted someone to understand. She paused, her gaze locked on mine. Now I do. I couldn't move. Couldn't speak. The way she said it wasn't threatening. It was honest. Too honest. Before I could ask how she knew any of that, she looked up suddenly, her eyes flashing silver. They're coming, she whispered. Who? She didn't answer. Instead, she reached out, pressed her palm to my chest, and for a second I saw everything. Stars collapsing, oceans of light, her world burning in silence. Then darkness. When I woke, the forest was quiet again. My truck door was open, keys still in the ignition. The clock said 2:13 a.m. I didn't dream it. I couldn't have. My chest still tingled where she touched me. I thought it was over, but that was only the beginning, because she wasn't human, and she wanted me. The next morning, sunlight hit my eyes like punishment. My head felt heavy, my body sore, as if I'd been struck by lightning. For a long time, I just sat there in my truck, staring at the forest. No signs of the lights, no footprints, no trace of her. Maybe I'd lost my mind. Maybe exhaustion finally caught up to me. But then I saw it, a faint print in the dirt near the tree line, small, delicate, and glowing faintly blue before it faded away. That was when I knew it wasn't a dream. I didn't go to work that day. I drove home, locked the doors, and tried to convince myself that I hadn't seen what I saw. I made coffee, turned on the TV, flipped through channels, but every station was just static. My phone, too. It wouldn't connect, no signal. Then I heard the voice again, not through a speaker, inside my head, clear, calm, and impossibly real. John, don't be afraid. I froze, mug halfway to my lips. No, I whispered, No, not again. The lights in the kitchen flickered once, then twice. A low vibration pulsed through the air, like the hum of a distant engine. The sound grew stronger until the windows rattled. I turned slowly. She was standing in my living room. Same silver skin, same mirrored eyes. Only this time she looked human enough to pass, almost. Her glow was dimmer, her shape more defined, as if she was learning how to fit into this world. "Don't be alarmed," she said. "Too late," I muttered. "You broke into my house." Her head tilted slightly, that same studying look as before. "This place has no barriers I cannot cross. You left the door unlocked, I hadn't. I was sure of it. But before I could argue, she took a slow step forward. Every instinct screamed for me to run, yet I didn't move. There was something about her presence, not threatening, but magnetic. "You're real," I said quietly. Her expression softened. "You still doubt what you've already felt." She raised her hand, and I took a step back, but she didn't touch me. Instead, she traced a faint pattern in the air, glowing lines that shifted like liquid glass. The symbols hung there, floating, before dissolving into light. "What is that?" "My language," she said. "But you understand it, don't you?" And somehow I did. I could feel the meaning rather than hear it, like emotion turned into thought. "You're speaking inside my head?" She nodded. "Your mind is different. I found the frequency that allows connection." "Why me?" Her eyes flickered with a soft blue light. "Because you listen to silence. Most humans fill it with noise. But you leave space." I didn't know what that meant, but something in her voice pulled me closer. She looked around my house, the scattered tools, the old photos on the wall, the half-fixed radio on the counter. "You build things," she said, "machines that move but do not feel." "It's my job," I replied, "and yet you wish they could understand you." That hit harder than I wanted to admit. She walked over to the radio and touched it. The dead screen flickered to life, static turning into a faint hum of music. Something soft and alien, echoing with tones I couldn't place. I stared. "How did you—" "I harmonized it," she said simply. "Energy responds to emotion." "Emotion," I laughed under my breath. "You're telling me you can power machines with feelings?" She nodded, eyes calm. "Every living mind generates a pattern. Yours resonates stronger than most. That's why I found you." Her words sent a chill down my spine. "Found me? For what?" She didn't answer immediately. Her gaze dropped to the floor. "To study you. To understand why your kind feels so deeply. Pain, joy, loneliness. We don't have that where I come from." "Where do you come from?" I asked. She hesitated. "A place you'd see only as light." We travel through thought, not distance. But I broke away from them. They wouldn't understand what I found here. The tone in her voice shifted, softer, almost human. For the first time I noticed how fragile she looked, not in body but in spirit, like she was running from something that could erase her. "Why are you here, Rose?" I asked before realizing I'd given her a name. She smiled faintly. "Rose," she repeated, "a name born of your thought." "It feels warm." "Just seemed to fit," I said. She studied me again, her eyes reflecting my own face back at me. "You fear me, yet you stay. Why?" "I don't know," I admitted. "You scare the hell out of me, but I can't make myself leave." "Curiosity," she whispered. "That's what makes your species dangerous and beautiful." For a moment, the silence between us wasn't uncomfortable. It was alive. Then headlights swept across the window. We both turned. A black SUV rolled slowly down the road. No plates, no markings. It stopped at the edge of my driveway. "Friends of your?" I asked, my voice tense. Her expression changed. Sharp, alert. "No, they are not human, but not from my kind either. They seek what they do not understand." The SUV engine cut off. Two figures stepped out, dressed in dark suits, faces shadowed. One carried a metal device that hummed softly. Rosie moved closer to me. They detected my arrival. I shouldn't have stayed this long. "What do they want?" "To capture, to dissect, to control what cannot be controlled. Panic rushed through me. We have to go. She nodded, but before I could move, she reached out and touched my temple. A flood of images hit me. Their thoughts, their signals, their plans. They'd been watching the forest for weeks, waiting for another sighting. My heart pounded. How do we escape them? She looked at me with calm determination. Trust me. Before I could answer, the lights in my house went out. Total darkness. A low vibration filled the air again. The same hum as before. The walls shimmered faintly. What are you doing? I shouted. Bending light, she said, her voice steady. They can't see what isn't there. I stared out the window. The men outside looked confused, searching the area with scanning devices that flickered uselessly. Rosie turned to me. We must leave this place. They will return where? Somewhere they can't follow. Somewhere. Human, I wanted to protest, but something in her eyes, that mix of fear and resolve, had made me nod. She reached out her hand. Come with me, John. You were chosen because your mind can bridge what others cannot. If I fail, they'll come for you too. I hesitated only a second before taking her hand. The world seemed to fold inward, every sound stretching into silence. The last thing I saw before everything vanished was the empty road outside and the men in black staring at nothing, searching for ghosts. Then we were gone. When the world came back into focus, we were standing in my garage. The old fluorescent light above us buzzed weakly, casting a dim glow over dusty shelves and the half-finished motorcycle I'd been rebuilding for months. Rosie released my hand, her eyes still shimmering faintly. We're safe. For now. I stared at her, breath unsteady. How did we get here? I folded the distance, she said simply, though a hint of exhaustion crept into her voice. It's difficult when carrying another mind. She looked pale, not in a human way, but dimmer, like her inner light had flickered. I handed her a chair, the kind covered in oil stains and rust spots. You should rest. I don't sleep, she replied. Yet she sat, studying everything around her with quiet fascination. Her gaze lingered on the hanging tools, the old radio, the cracked concrete floor. This place feels alive, wounded but still breathing. That's one way to describe it, I said, half smiling. The garage had always been my world. The smell of metal, the sound of engines, the one space that made sense. Now it felt smaller, charged with her presence. Rosie reached toward the motorcycle, her fingers hovering just above the chrome. This machine means something to you. It was my father's, I said. He never finished fixing it. I guess I kept it to feel like I could still finish something he started. Her hand brushed the seat and suddenly a rush of images filled my mind. My father's laughter, the smell of gasoline, the last day we spoke before he passed. I gasped, stepping back. What did you just do? Her expression softened. I saw what you felt. The memory was strong, close to the surface. I didn't mean to take it, only to understand. You can see memories through touch, she said. They're patterns of energy. Yours are different. Full of color, I stared at her hands. Maybe don't go reading everything in my head, all right? She smiled faintly. I'll try. But your thoughts are loud for a moment. The tension eased. We talked. She asked endless questions. Why humans needed so many tools. Why we laughed when things weren't funny. Why music made us cry. I tried to explain. Sometimes words weren't enough. When I played her a song from an old cassette, something bluesy and raw, she tilted her head, eyes half closed. This vibration, it carries sadness, but it's beautiful. That's the point, I said. Beauty hurts a little. She repeated the phrase softly, almost tasting the words. Beauty hurts. Then she smiled again, a real one this time, small but radiant. We shared other moments too, clumsy, human moments. She watched me eat a sandwich and insisted on trying one. She didn't understand taste at first, but when she did, her expression changed completely. It's like memory and feeling combined, she said, laughing for the first time. The sound wasn't quite human, a melody hidden inside the laughter, but it made me forget everything else. Days passed like that. She stayed hidden in the garage, avoiding the outside world. At night, I saw dark vehicles parked down the road, engines idling with their lights off. Whoever those men were, they hadn't given up. But inside the garage, time felt different. She helped me fix the motorcycle, touching the engine gently as if speaking to it. The machine responded. No spark plugs, no fuel, yet it hummed faintly under her hand. "You're doing that," I said. "It listens to emotion," she murmured. "Machines understand balance better than hearts do." I couldn't argue with that. One evening, as rain hit the roof in a steady rhythm, she stood by the open window watching the storm. Lightning flashed, and for an instant, her body shimmered with threads of light, matching every bolt across the sky. "You're glowing again," I said. Her voice was quieter now. "It happens when I remember." "Remember what?" Her eyes darkened, reflecting the rain. "My world, the collective." She hesitated, then turned to face me. We were created to serve harmony. No hunger, no war, no pain. But they took more than suffering. They erased individuality. Every thought, every feeling, shared and controlled. I couldn't breathe inside their silence. She touched her chest, and the glow there flickered painfully. "They called emotion a disease. I called it freedom." I felt something tighten in my chest. "So you ran?" She nodded. "They'll come for me." "They always do. And if they find me here, they'll come for you too." "Then we'll hide better," I said without thinking. She studied me, almost disbelieving. "You would risk yourself for something not of your kind?" I took a breath. "You don't feel like a stranger anymore." For a long moment, neither of us spoke. The rain softened. The air between us felt alive. Then she reached out and placed her palm over my heart. The warmth was instant, spreading through me like fire and electricity. My thoughts raced, memories flashing in reverse. Childhood, loss, laughter, every scar I'd ever carried. "I can feel it," she whispered. "Your heart breaks and rebuilds at the same time." Her own light pulsed in rhythm with my heartbeat. The radio crackled suddenly, tuning itself to some invisible frequency. Tools rattled on the shelves. The motorcycle's headlight flickered on by itself. "Rosie, stop," I said gently. "You're making everything react." She gasped and pulled her hand away. The light dimmed. The room stilled. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "My emotions. I can't contain them here. Your world amplifies them." "It's all right," I said, though my hands were still trembling. "Guess you've got a strong signal." That made her laugh again, softer this time. But later that night, I couldn't sleep. Every bulb in the house glowed faintly, even though the power was out. Outside, the dark SUVs were gone, but I could sense movement in the distance, as if someone was still watching. I found Rosie sitting by the motorcycle, staring at the old photo of my father I'd left on the bench. "You miss him," she said. "Yeah," I said quietly. "I never told him half the things I should have." She turned to me, eyes shimmering. "On my world, we don't lose those we love. We merge with them, become one consciousness." "But that's not the same as remembering." "No," I said. "It's not." She reached out and brushed her fingers against my cheek. "Humans carry pain like treasure. That's why your kind is dangerous to mine. You would infect us with feeling, maybe feelings are worth the risk." Her gaze held mine, and for a heartbeat, everything else faded. The storm, the machines, the fear. Just her and me. Then the ground trembled slightly, a distant rumble rolling through the night. The radio hissed, lights flickering in rhythm with her pulse. "They've found me," she whispered. "How?" "My connection to you. Every emotion leaves a trace, and I've felt too much." She looked at me with both wonder and sorrow. "You taught me what it means to be alive, John. But I may have doomed us both." I stepped closer, my voice steady. "Then we face it together." Her eyes shone, not with alien light, but something achingly human. "Together," she repeated as thunder cracked overhead, and the garage filled with the glow of approaching headlights. The hum of the machines grew louder, echoing her heartbeat. The world was responding to her emotions again. 2 hours, and outside the hunters had arrived. The night erupted with light. Headlights carved through the rain as engines roared up the hill. Black SUVs skidded to a halt outside my garage, doors slamming in unison. Shadows moved through the storm, tall, deliberate, too quiet to be ordinary men. Rosie's glow dimmed as she turned toward me. They've breached the barrier. I can't hide us anymore. How did they find us? I asked, grabbing my jacket. Her eyes avoided mine. Because I led them here. The words cut through the noise like a blade. What did you say? She swallowed, the rain outside flickering silver in her reflection. You deserve the truth, John. I wasn't sent here to study your kind. I was sent to harvest, the word echoed in my head. Harvest? What the hell does that mean? Your emotions, she whispered. That's what sustains us. My people feed on what you feel. Joy, grief, love. We absorb the resonance and turn it into energy. When I touched you that first night, I was collecting. I took a step back, the betrayal burning hotter than the fear. You used me. Her voice broke. I didn't know it would be like this. I didn't know your feelings could change me. Change you? You're telling me all of this was, what, an experiment? She shook her head violently. No, I disobeyed them. I refused to return. I stopped transmitting after I met you. But they traced the silence. They know I wanted to shout, to demand why she hadn't told me sooner, but outside the sound of boots splashing through puddles drowned out my thoughts. The agents were spreading out, dark silhouettes with scanning devices that shimmered blue in the rain. John, Rosie said softly, stepping closer. I never wanted to hurt you. I backed away. You drained me. You read my memories. You fed on me. Her voice trembled. And yet you're stronger than before, aren't you? Human emotion replenishes itself. That's what they never understood. It grows when shared. Something crashed outside, metal against metal. One of the SUVs burst into flames, blue fire spiraling upward. Rosie's light pulsed uncontrollably. They've activated disruptors. They'll destroy everything to reach me. Then go, I snapped. If you stay, we both die. She hesitated, rain streaking down her luminous skin. I can't leave you. I almost believed her. Almost. Before I could speak again, a deafening voice echoed through a loudspeaker. This is a containment order. Step away from the entity and lie face down. Rosie flinched, her reflection scattering across the wet floor like shards of light. They'll never stop, she whispered. They'll tear your mind apart to study the link between us. I looked out the window, half a dozen men moving in formation, weapons glowing with blue energy. Whatever they were carrying wasn't military issue. I grabbed her arm. There's a back exit through the alley. Come on, we ran. The rain hit like needles as we burst out into the open. Static energy crackled around us, distorting the air. My skin tingled, her power reacting to my fear again. She stumbled, clutching her head. They're jamming my signal. It's like being suffocated. I caught her before she fell. Keep moving! We tore down the alley, boots splashing through the rising puddles. A blinding pulse of blue light shot past, slamming into the wall beside us. Bricks exploded outward. Stop! A voice shouted. You're harboring a non-human organism. I turned, rage boiling through my fear. She's not a thing. Another blast struck the ground inches from my feet. Rosie cried out, not from pain, but something deeper, resonating through my bones. The world shimmered, bending around her like a mirage. The next instant, the agents' lights flickered, their weapons glitching out. Run, John, she cried. We reached the forest, trees bending under the storm. Thunder rolled overhead, but beneath it was another sound, a low hum, rising and falling in rhythm with her breathing. They're calling me back, she said, voice breaking. If I respond, they'll leave this world. But they'll take everything inside me, including you. Then don't, I said. Fight it. You don't understand. My connection to you is the beacon. Every emotion I felt for you, they can trace it. Then cut the connection. She shook her head violently. If I sever it, you'll lose everything. Your memories of me, your strength, everything we've shared. The thought hit me harder than I expected. And if you don't, they'll destroy this planet to reach me. The forest lit up behind us as the agents closed in, their disruptors glowing brighter. The air vibrated with static, trees splitting under the force of the storm. I grabbed her shoulders. You have to choose, Rosie. Tears, or something like them, streamed down her face, glowing faintly. I already did. Before I could speak, she pressed her forehead against mine. A surge of energy poured through me. Every emotion I'd ever felt flashing in rapid bursts. The first time I laughed as a kid, the pain of losing my father, the quiet comfort of her smile. I was meant to take your emotions, she whispered, but instead, they became mine. I can't go back. I can't survive without you. Then stay, I said. Lightning exploded across the sky, blinding white. She pulled back, eyes full of sorrow. If I stay, they'll find you again. They'll keep coming. You have to let me go. No. You don't have a choice. The air behind her tore open, a rip of light swirling like liquid glass. Through it, shadowy figures emerged, shapes that weren't entirely physical. The collective had come. Rosie's glow flared bright enough to turn night into dawn. The agents fell to their knees, weapons short-circuiting in their hands. She looked at me one last time. Forgive me, John. I reached out, but she stepped back, her body flickering between worlds. Rosie, you made me feel, she said, and that will be my undoing. She lifted her hands and the world erupted in static energy. Trees bent, wind howled, the portal widened. I tried to move toward her, but an invisible force held me still. I won't let them take you, I shouted. Her voice came through the storm like a whisper. Then remember me. And then she was gone, swallowed by light. The storm collapsed in an instant, leaving only silence in the rain. The SUVs were overturned, agents unconscious, the portal gone. The only sign she'd ever been there was a faint shimmer in the air, and the warmth still lingering in my chest. I sank to my knees, soaked and shaking. For the first time in years, I cried, not from pain, but from the unbearable truth that love had crossed galaxies and broken both our worlds. Somewhere in the distance, thunder rolled again, low and endless, and I swore I heard her voice carried in the storm. Beauty hurts, but it's worth it. I looked up, eyes burning, whispering to the sky. You weren't human, but you were more human than any of us. The storm hadn't ended. It had only paused, holding its breath. I stood in the forest surrounded by chaos, broken trees, shattered glass, the remains of vehicles twisted into the mud. Smoke curled up in thin blue trails, glowing faintly in the rain. And then I saw her. Rosie stood in the center of it all, light flickering through her veins like lightning trapped beneath her skin. The energy pulsed out from her, soft at first, then stronger. A heartbeat that made the air itself vibrate. She looked fragile, like she was unraveling from the inside. Rosie! I stumbled toward her, fighting against the wind pushing me back. You have to stop. You'll kill yourself. Her voice came faintly through the storm. They're waking. I have to finish it before they remember all around us. The agents were stirring, their eyes blank, weapons still sparking in their hands. The sky itself seemed to hum, heavy with power. What are you doing? I shouted. She turned, her face pale but calm. Erasing them. Their memories, their mission, everything connected to me. They'll forget what they saw, who they came for, and you. My heart stopped. No, don't you dare erase me. Her light dimmed a little, and I saw the faintest smile. I can't erase you. I wouldn't even if I could. She took a step closer, her form flickering like a candle in the wind. But this will cost me everything. The energy it takes. I won't come back from it. No, there has to be another way. There isn't, she said gently. You gave me emotion, John. You gave me a heart, and now I'll use it to save yours. She raised her hands, palms open toward the fallen agents. Light spilled out, not violent or blinding this time, but soft, almost tender. It drifted across the field like falling snow, touching one person after another. Their eyes glazed over, and one by one they collapsed, peaceful, unknowing. Her glow intensified, turning her outline transparent. I ran to her, grabbing her shoulders, but my hands passed partly through. "Rosie, stop! You're fading!" Her eyes met mine, the same mirrored eyes that had terrified me the first night and comforted me every night since. "It's all right. This is what I was meant to do." "Don't say that." My voice broke. "You said you escaped them. You said you wanted to live." She reached up, fingers brushing my cheek. The touch was warm, electric. "I did live. With you. Every heartbeat, every word, every laugh. It was more life than my kind ever knew." Her body flickered again, the light inside her breaking into fragments. I tried to hold her tighter, but she was slipping away like mist. "You don't have to do this," I whispered. "Yes, I do." Her voice was soft now, fading under the sound of the rain. "If I stay, they'll come again. If I go, you can live free of them." I shook my head violently. "I don't want freedom without you." For the first time, I saw tears in her mirrored eyes. Not light, but real, human tears. "Then remember me. That's all I ask." She leaned close, her lips near my ear, her voice barely a breath. "Now you'll remember me, even when the world forgets." The light exploded outward, wrapping everything in blinding silver. I felt warmth rush through my chest. Not pain, but something pure, almost peaceful. Then silence. When I opened my eyes, the forest was gone. I was lying on my garage floor, sunlight bleeding through the cracks in the door. My clothes were dry, my tools scattered as if nothing had happened. The motorcycle sat half-built, the radio quietly humming static. Days had passed. I didn't know how many. I stumbled outside, blinking at the morning light. The world was calm again. Birds singing, traffic humming in the distance. No sign of wreckage or fire. When I tried to tell someone what happened, the sheriff, my neighbors, anyone, they just looked at me like I'd lost my mind. No reports of strange lights, no missing agents, no evidence at all. It was as if the world had simply forgotten, but I hadn't. At night I still felt her. A whisper in the back of my thoughts, a warmth that lingered where her hand had touched my heart. Sometimes I'd wake from dreams of starlight and rain, her voice echoing faintly. "Beauty hurts, but it's worth it." One evening I returned to the garage. The sun had set, painting the room in shadows. I sat beside the motorcycle, the same one we'd worked on together. And something caught my eye. On the workbench, right beside the old wrench she'd once picked up, lay a single silver feather. It glowed softly, pulsing like a heartbeat. I reached for it, my fingers trembling. The moment I touched it, a warmth spread through me. The same warmth as before, alive and real. I smiled, not the kind of smile that hides pain, but the kind that accepts it. "She wasn't human," I said quietly, staring at the feather as its glow filled the room. "But she taught me what being human really means." The lights flickered once, just a faint pulse of energy, like a reply. And for a heartbeat, I swore I heard her laugh again. The feather shimmered brighter, then dimmed, leaving only the faintest trace of silver dust. I sat there in the silence, surrounded by machines that would never understand, and whispered into the dark, "Goodbye, Rosie." Outside, the wind carried her name across the night sky, soft, endless, and full of light. She wasn't human, and she wanted me.